I mean, there are lots of different avenues that are, important to address. I feel like making sure to bring back body autonomy for women is a big thing, because I know that that's kind of rough places still, especially with the pullback of Roe v. Wade. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not peel back. Overturning maybe. But re-guns protect our freedom, re-marriage, how dare they have freedom to marry who they want. Exactly. 100%. It's basically like one side wants gun control and the other side wants to ban books and deepen libraries. Oh, it's such a tricky balance, And yeah, no, repealing, overthrown, regardless, just absolutely terrible. Yeah, hopefully that is a nice clear indication as to where I sit on all of this, because I definitely think it's important. I know I had someone a while back. Well, that's the thing, I almost want to just, I guess I should go this way, point there, but that's not actually that great of an indication. There are plenty of people in the LGBT community that are unfortunately not that on the same page. I'm trying to remember, there was, which fashion company is it, Dolce&Gabbana, where the owner is heavily Catholic and gay, so he believes that gay people shouldn't have children. It's my mans, what's your problem? A lot of people that see what's right and don't forget it. Oh, 100%. I think the majority of people, it's a loud minority, a vocal minority. You really do believe it's the majority. I agree 100%. I don't know, regardless of kind of all the crappy things that happen out there in the world, I do find myself pushing to be a fairly optimistic person. Oh, shoot. Hello, Aphis. Backed by anti-magic, not silent, or electricity, called out damnation. Oh me, oh my. This should be exciting. Ooh, let's double up on my own ancestor, actually. I should have looked at your resistances. You are resistant to electricity, poison, fire. Just resistant. It's good enough for me. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, no, I do find myself to generally consider myself to be an optimist. I'm hoping to potentially even just manifest some of that into being, because I like to have faith in people, and the majority of people I know are incredible, are awesome people. So if we can all just keep spreading that, maybe, just maybe, this world will end up in a half decent place, as long as we don't burn it to the ground before then. But who's to say what the future has in store? Invo's at 20 here, what does? Have to be the change you want to see? 100%. I feel like I'm not great at that. I'm somebody who, lived a pretty privileged life growing up. I traveled more than most people, so I think that helps a little bit with, gaining perspective and having a broader worldview. But even within that, my family was, able to travel a bunch. So what does that say? But the big thing is that I'm trying to be better at is talking about this stuff, because I feel like I do struggle with talking about serious topics, especially on a platform. But it's important to, and I think that, I try my best, and sure, I awkwardly stumble my way through sentiments quite often. I was going to say once in a while, and then I checked myself. Quite often probably is the safer bet there. But I still just like to do my best to try, and I know even if I make myself sound like an idiot, that's the least I can do. Shoot, Natasha, hopefully that wasn't your last life. I'm so sorry. Unrelated to politics, watching the VODs has got me back into Krull this week, and so much is different. Is Crossbow Cobalt still good? The vision range change seems pretty crippling for it. And depending on how long ago you were playing, were you still... were you playing when Kobolds could still use any crossbow? Because they're also now reduced. They cannot use triple crossbows, or any of the kind of heavier duty crossbows, unfortunately. But still pretty dang good. I mean, the vision change does suck, but crossbows are still just pretty wild. That's actually a good point. Maybe I'm speaking out of my butt. Once again, talking about something that I'm not very good at speaking eloquently about. Because now, as I think about it more and more, I'm like, yeah, it's probably not that good. Like, I love ranged Barakis because of the additional sightline, and so vice versa on the flip side. Probably pretty rough. I have to try the 1.3 Armator. Yeah, so I'm not actually too familiar with the Armator. I haven't been keeping up. But yeah, you would recommend it, Wodas, if you had a lot of fun playing them. But there we go, folks. Holy moly, Anthony managing to make it through just fine here today. A couple of minorly close calls, nothing quite to the point of we never don't have it, look at the camera, roll the dice and hope that I get a nat 20, but still a couple of close calls. You know, dealing with the defenses of a ranged character is always interesting. I also realized this at some point but didn't explicitly mention it. Swapping down from the tower shield to the regular shield and the regen amulet, sure, it left us with less shielding, but look at these scores. 22, 22, 23. I almost wish that we did not put that last enchantment scroll on. All 22s, baby. Would have been fun. That sucks. Cold Berserker and the crossbows was the first "this is super fun" build you ever played. Nice. Yeah, that's very on my alley. I loved playing dodge-based Berserkers at one point, years back before I started streaming it. Hey, Dr. Pirate, how's it going, friend? Been a hot minute. How are things going your way? Also, congrats on the win. Thanks. I mean, we haven't quite made it out that. I could still decide to do something silly here, but we'll probably head on out and save ourselves the hassle. Really solid run. Again, absurd getting this from an acquirement scroll in level 8. I believe that acquirement scroll came from the it's not Moat and Bailey, it's just called the Bailey, isn't it? There we go. Do a backflip. Exactly. You got to show off a little bit before we head out, right? But yeah, huge win for us there very early on. Pretty much carried us this entire game. I mean, a little bit of use of the triple crossbow, but largely just orbs of fire. Everything else absolutely melted without a problem in the world. And I guess general thoughts on Hep. Pretty fun. I mean, still didn't use too much of my abilities. Getting a bit more into practice of, you know, reaching out to use Idealize and using Transference. I mean, one thing I didn't do, so actually, you know, we are gonna do some shenanigans here. I tell you to retreat, and then Formicids can blink now. So how about that? And right back at ya. Holy moly. So yeah, didn't mean to use that this game, but that's definitely huge. I feel like specifically on Formicids, Hep might be stupidly strong, just for giving a way around the stasis there. If things had gone absolutely horribly wrong at some point, that is something we could have potentially relied on. Takes a bit of setup, you know, the turn to talk to your ally, give them time to walk away, then you can pop it. But that's pretty sweet to have a blink on Formicids. Not bad whatsoever. And yeah, I would potentially want to try some of the other flavors of Ancestor in the future. Battle Mage seems stupidly strong, especially once they get Crystal Sphere up. They're just one-shotting enormous enemies. Knight, I could imagine being strong in a very similar way, especially since our Battle Mage was tanking things half the time and did a pretty dang good job of it. I can't even imagine, with additional AC and some cleave axe action going on. Pretty beautiful. Hexer, not fully sold on, but that anti-magic quick blade does seem kind of cool. So that's I guess Hep for us here. Almost sad to see you go. And where do we wish to go next, folks? One option we have for the polytheist approach here is to leave it open-ended to start out. You know, I debated going through the list like in the same order, much like we did with the species, but I think we're gonna go pretty shotgun scatter approach here, and that leaves us able to use like Fated Altars at the start of the run while we still have so many of the options open to us. You know, take the first altars that we come across if they're a nice fit for whatever background we chose and species. So I don't know if we'll commit to anything, but yeah, what deities are you most excited for? because I definitely have some up there. Haven't returned to Wujian since the Stabber run in the Great Player series, so that could be fun for sure. Quaslal is one of my dear favorites, so it's going to be terrifying as always, bringing the entirety of the floor to your location at any given moment, but so cool. Love that. And of course all the usuals: Ash, Gozeg, Vey. We'll get there. Uskaya Stabber is up there for me. Gonna be fun. How many times do I think Dig saved me? Quite a few, especially there were some last week I believe as well, so I'd be confident in at least 4. Save is also kind of tough. Like, we were trying to be a bit more proactive with it, so that helped out a great deal, and potentially saved us, but it wasn't necessarily that cut and dry. I do think Dig is one of the biggest advantages with Formicids. I mean, I'm not really able to rank these things in my head. I just sway back and forth and keep deciding on new things constantly. But between, being able to wield 2-handed weapons and a shield, being able to dig, Shaft Self is a bit more of a like emergency only, big red button, oh gosh, nuclear codes go. But digging, yeah, is a lifesaver for sure. Any kind of polearm user, any kind of smiter, groups of enemies, it's all beautiful stuff. Take the first altar on the list unless it's a truly bad choice, yeah, and that's honestly pretty close to your usual strategy. Fair enough, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I think Rue is amazing. Yeah, I still need a good Rue run. I feel like did we get one good Rue attempt in the Great Player? I know there were definitely some failed Rue attempts that I remember quite vividly, but so many people, let's walk that back instead of stumbling over my words. So many people swear by Rue, so I definitely would like to give them another good old try. I guess that in that way they're very similar to Hep, where some people just love Hep. So maybe I'll feel the same way about Rue, because I definitely learned to very much enjoy the Hepliaklqana playstyle over the course of this run. That seems super useful. That is one that is, yeah, enjoyable for sure, especially for a hunter-based character. So we will be seeing some more of those as we continue forward here. But yeah, being able to put up the Briars late game when you can just add like O-Club tower defense mazes to your repertoire, it gets pretty dang strong. Not as ridiculous as it used to be back in the day, but still dang good. And definitely a very strong choice for a 3-rune game. To play Rue well, you have to be willing to make the big sacrifices, then liberally use your big guns like Apocalypse when they count. I think that's my problem, is that I'm not good at making the big sacrifices. But maybe that's what we'll try when we do eventually reach them in the Polytheist series. Rue is also your first win, Badman, on Minotaur Fighter, but hey, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But that's awesome. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the Rue run. Maybe I'll learn a little something, not only about the game, but about myself as well. Could be sweet. Rue's Jump is also a huge edge now that you can't walk away from melee range safely. Free get out of attacks of opportunity card. Definitely seems useful. I mean, Baraki, you get a little bit of that, but unfortunately with their slowness don't fully capitalize. But even with that, I definitely enjoyed the jump on them, so pretty sweet stuff. I feel like my issue is I'd constantly use it to jump into battle when potentially it's a better utility ability. Who knows? Again, we'll probably learn when we get a little bit closer to that side of things. But of course, this is the end for good old Anthony. You did wonderfully, my friend. This was such an enjoyable run. I do think I'm becoming quite the fast convert to ranged users. Between the 15-rune ranger character we played and this run, it's so much fun. You just steamroll. Like, sure, defenses can be a little bit rough at times, but oh man, is it overpowered once you get the Gatling gun going. Really, really sweet stuff. So I'm glad that we have a few deities left on the list that will synergize nicely with the Ranger playstyle. It definitely means that we can continue to visit this in the future. For now, let's say goodbye to good old Anthony. Fantastic stuff. Again, very solid collection of abilities. Oh, right, for anyone who wasn't here for the entirety of the run, by the way, play this seed with an Octopode. Please, let me know how it goes. Hell, maybe I should record this number. Well, that's the thing, Torinski, you are recording it. That's the beauty of Twitch VODs. But more specifically, maybe I should, in my very limited spare time, if I'm ever looking to throw some time into the wind, I should try out an Octopode run, because this is just like the tiniest smattering of what was available to us. I mean, this ring has dex minus, but the majority of them were dex +6, +6. There was a +5, a +4. Just stupid rings available. So an Octopode character on this siege could be a lot of fun. Indeed. But again, very solid run. I could reminisce here for ages, but instead we'll just say goodbye to Anthony right next to Kermit. Our favorite hunters together at last. Beautiful. Pretty high up there on the list in general. I guess it was a quick run, hey? 3 hours and 35 minutes, so that's, yeah, like half my usual time. Pretty sick. Pretty sweet. And turns at 60,000, also relatively low. I'm trying to remember which character was the shortest run. I mean, our 15 rune ranger wasn't that much longer, all things considered. So I think that's probably what's coming to mind to me. In fact, this could be our shortest kind of normal based run that we've managed to go through as we blitzed our way through the mid game for sure. What's a Meteoran take? Ah, that's a good point. That one was also slower. In fact, let's take a brief moment here. High scores. What am I? Right, Meteoran. That's what I'm looking for. It was up here. Meteoran Hunter. Oh, look at that. They were 26,000 turns. Yeah, so just over 3 hours. So that's actually my quickest. Fair enough. But yeah, there we go. The Gargoyle Hunter. Only 2 hours longer than that. And yeah, only a few thousand turns longer as well. Like, that's just absurd. These are more like it. 13 and 14 hours. That's more what I've come to expect. So yeah, it's funny that this hunter is pretty much as good as my non-Meteoran 3 rune run. In fact, almost identical there. 530, 87,000, 530, 79,000. That definitely puts things into interesting perspective. Comparing the other races to Meteoran is probably unfair, though. I think you might be right on the money with that one. You're too scared to start one? I was too, I was too. Oh my gosh. It definitely took a bit of a shifting in mental gears, because I am someone who generally explores the entire floor. Who knows what you might find there. So it almost breaks my heart to ignore most of it. But it was interesting for that. Again, I have a lot of respect and appreciation for Meteorans. Even though they're not my cup of tea, at least not fully. I enjoy them, but not too much. They're definitely a change of pace and a very interesting perspective. So if you're, ever getting bored with the game, that seems like a pretty awesome place to go. Try out some Meteoran runs and see how it feels and how it goes. But yeah, it's funny looking through this and just all the memories. Genie being one of the few that is actually doubled up here. I believe the majority of these, besides Gargoyle and Jin, are the Great Player series wins. So it is funny to scroll down the list. It is a wealth of memories, good old times. There's Stabbled. We were just talking about them earlier today. We'll be back to Wujian at some point here as well, so maybe we'll get to relive the fun. Or Gree. Yeah, we don't talk too much about Gree. It was a sad day. That's our first loss in the miss here, or in the list rather. I mean, this one is because it's so recent. Oh my gosh, Nathaniel. Too soon. Taken from us too soon, you son of a gun. Anywho, I can get lost in the nostalgia and in the memories of this. Hopefully we can just add in another... How many gods are there? Are there also 27 gods? I definitely cannot list them all off the top of my head. But another however many deities there are in our victory list there after the end of this brand new, at least from an official standpoint, brand new Polytheist series. Very much looking forward to the rest of that and how it's going to go. this will, unfortunately, be the end of our stream for the evening today. Wonderful way to go out. A fantastic run. I hope you all enjoyed watching as well. Definitely love to have you around, whether that be chatting alongside us, lurking in the background, or hey, if you're watching this down the road through VODs or YouTubes, then, you know, the YouTubes, that classic YouTubes with all the Pokemans. I do hope that you enjoyed the series and stick with us and see how the rest of it goes. I believe there are 26 gods. No P but a 1. Okay, so almost the magic number there. But have a nice week, you as well. In fact, to all of you, hope you have a fantastic week here. Looking forward to jumping back into it Sunday when the world will be our oyster. I'm almost paralyzed by choice here. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for the stream, was fun. I'm glad. I'm very glad. I hope so, especially when it's an easier run. Sometimes I almost feel bad that, you know, it's going so smoothly, but fortunately, all you lovely folks had tons of fantastic conversation prompts, so it helps me for sure, because otherwise I'm sitting here just talking my butt off about who knows what, because if anything, or if nothing else, I can rant incessantly about the stupidest topics, for better or for worse. For the most part, you can see there that my brain, immediately upon making that bold claim, decided, you know what? No, you're taking this for granted. Let's give you no words and see how you feel. God damn you, brain. God damn. But okie dokie, to end off, we'll of course do the usual routine of trying to find who else is live at the moment, who we can raid. And now, just continuing the tradition, I'm going to lose my ability to speak, so let's try to wrap this up before we get to that desperate stage. I think we will send a raid off to Wizard. We'll stay in the DCSS groove here today. So definitely stick around, say hello. I'm assuming most of you have checked them out before, but if not, definitely swing on by with us and say hello. Wizard is always a lot of fun, a lot more consistent at the game than I am, and usually doing some interesting combinations of adventures. So stick around, say hello, and yeah, I guess, is there anything else, or am I just going to do the usual thing of keeping the goodbye going an uncomfortable length? No, I think that's it. So let's get that rage started here. There you are. Start raid, get it prepped up, and yeah, huge thanks again to all of you lovely individuals. Always a fantastic time. I like when we occasionally get into the more serious topics, even though, again, I'm not super comfortable with speaking on any important topics, but I think it's important to, and I like to do my best to hopefully create a relatively safe space for all of you lovely individuals. But regardless of all of that, I of course hope that you have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. I hope you also don't forget to speak like I have. Just remember, folks, that we never for a moment didn't have it, and I hope to see you again soon. I'll see ya.